Nos visita desde Bélgica, de la Universidad Católica de Lovaina, la doctora Virginie März, quien trabaja en el departamento en la Facultad de Psicología y Educación de dicha universidad para hablarnos sobre sus líneas de investigación, su visita a Ecuador y un proyecto concreto que está realizando con el área de educación de la Universidad Andina. Bienvenida, Virginie. Welcome to Universidad Andina Simón Bolívar. It's the first time you visit this beautiful university, and we are glad to have you here.
Happy to be here. Yeah.
If you could please tell us what is your line of research, what kind of research you do, and specifically in Ecuador, what you have done.
So I'm a professor at the Faculty of Psychology and Educational Sciences, but with a focus on educational sciences. And as a researcher, I'm interested in studying change processes. So my main topics are educational innovation, so how to implement reforms in school organizations. And the second one is about teacher and leadership professional development. So I really want to understand how both of them contribute to each other. So how through school improvement we can stimulate leadership and teacher development, but also how teacher development can contribute to the quality of schools. So that's my main research interest. Yeah.
And in this field, usually when we speak about how to develop teacher leadership and improve school quality, how do you see the debate between these two? Which comes first? For example, the needs of teacher development or the needs of the institution? How do you see that?
I think it's a difficult question, but I think if you look at international research, but as well as in studies being done here in the context of Ecuador, I think it's important to start in investing in teacher and leadership development. I think our future generation of students, of pupils, they need really quality education, and for that you need quality school leaders and principals who have the skills and competencies to contribute to that. And so in order to be able to implement reforms and think about improvement in your schools, you need a leadership team surrounded by teachers who are capable of contributing to that quality. So if I have to decide, I would start by investing in teacher and leadership development as a strategy to improve the quality of schools.
And how do you begin? For example, let's say you want to, you are called to develop a program to develop these leadership skills in teachers. Could you describe as the process? How would you begin? By which analysis?
You mean in the research?
In research, or if you have to make a training program, for example, for teachers.
I think in any way you have to adapt the training to the local context. I think that's really important. We know a lot about research, about what works and what is effective training, but I think often we forget to look at what is really needed in a specific context. So we have to start by that, by seeing, okay, the models that we have learned by research. For instance, we know that distributed leadership is very important, but distributed leadership in a European context will be different, for instance, in an Ecuadorian context. So I think as a researcher and as a trainer, I think it's really important to develop a sort of contextualized approach. I think it starts with that. It's a responsibility as a researcher, but also as a trainer, to modify those models to what the local context needs. And then I think it's really important that training is the result of a collaboration between researchers and practitioners. So that researchers, based on what we know what works, collaborate with people from the field to construct the training. So for me, it's really the idea about creating a collaborative approach to train principals and teachers.
Good. And for example, when you develop a training program, how do you engage teachers to do that? Because sometimes, of course, they would like to learn more things and new things, but how do you connect with them? What do you do to engage them in these activities?
Yeah, I think if we talk about teachers and principals as two groups of people who have to be trained, I think because they're already working, we have to go beyond the traditional training models. It's not the idea of sending them to a formal training because they don't have the time, and I think it's disconnected from their practice. What we see based on research, but also based on practice, that professional learning communities could be a relevant strategy. So that we create networks of teachers and networks of principals who meet like every month once, where they have the opportunity to exchange with each other, create a network, and like that, like get inspired by other practices. So I think it's important when we talk about teacher professional development and leadership development to develop something that is suitable for their practice, that they can combine with their work, because I think it's important, and especially for school principals, who are often seen as sort of the idea of the isolated or the lonely principal. They are like, even though we talk about leadership teams, often they feel very alone in their mandates. I think for that particular group, learning communities with other principals is a very valuable approach to contribute to their learning, but also giving them the opportunity to have a network around them, so that when they have questions, that they have access to informal support. So I think for me, like talking about teacher professional development and leadership development, that we have to go beyond the traditional ideas of training and invest more in like models that are connected to their reality, for instance, by the learning communities. Yeah.
And you've mentioned these professional learning communities as a way to strengthen teacher professional development initiatives. Yeah. What has been your experience? How do they see it as a positive thing when they first encountered this new strategy of getting together? Because I see that there may be many positive things about it, right? Yeah,
I think because, as I explained, it offers two things. It offers training, because within those learning communities, it's not that just a discussion. We try to have like a structured approach, so that they know about, like in each session we will discuss certain topics, so they will get input. But what is interesting is that they learn a lot from their peers. So it's by hearing the experiences of other teachers, of other principals, that they can get inspired. So those learning communities is really something that, it's a way of developing, but it's also a way of creating a network. And that's something that, based on the research that we already conducted in Ecuador, that principals shared with us, that they valued a lot the opportunity they got to have like a connection with other principals or teachers. And through that way, because the learning communities is a sort of, every X months we organize it, but the networks that are created within those PLCs, they continue, right? Even though they don't meet each other the next weeks, thanks to the network and the collaboration that has been installed in those PLCs, they have access to that network of peers. And for them, that's important, especially for principals. When they say it helps me to not feel alone in my job, to have the opportunity to consult other colleagues when I'm confronted with problems or issues. So,
And what are some of the topics that are treated or discussed in these groups? Because relating it to transfer of learning, one of the things that we want to do and improve in professional teacher professional development is this idea that their attitudes, their beliefs are strengthened, also new skills, and it translates into educational behavior, and it impacts schools and reforms, etc. And what do you see besides this feeling support and feeling accompanied, which is extremely important? Are there any other skills concretely that you describe that are transferred through these professional learning communities?
Yeah, it's the idea of be able to critically look at each other's work, I think. The other skill that they develop is collaboration. In those professional learning communities, we want to develop their collaborative competencies. So, and for teachers and for principals to learn that they're part of a team. So we make schools together. If we want to make schools improve the quality of schools, we have to do it together. And so within those PLCs, those learning communities, they learn to collaborate, and they also learn to change their perception, for instance, that as a teacher or principals, you have to do it in your own class, or as a principal to do it by yourself. I think that's one of the important competencies that they learn through those PLCs. Another thing is that in those learning communities, we work a lot with data. So we ask them to bring student data with them. We analyze it together, and they learn. So we talk about the data literacy skills. They learn to take decisions, informed decisions, based on the reality of their schools, based on the student results, achievement data, but also based on the well-being of their students. So they learn to take more informed decisions. So that's another thing that they learn through the PLCs. Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. It's extremely important, and it's linked to what you do with school innovation, and so it's
the
wonderful.
connection between the two of them.
Of course.
Yeah.
So your experience in Ecuador, you have been coming for some years now, and why are you here? Maybe you can explain to us.
So this is my third visit, I think, but the first time in the context of this project. So since January 2023, we launched a new research project in collaboration with this university, UNAMUR, another university in French-speaking Belgium, and UQuenca. And it's a research project with a title on, we work on sustainable educational leadership. So in that project, we really want to understand how those learning communities contribute to leadership and teacher development, but as well how it contributes to school improvement. So we have like 3 strategies. We will conduct research. For that, we will work with 3 local PhD students from Ecuador who will be analyzing the data that we'll be collecting together. And we will also invest in the capacities of researchers. So we really want to together create like a research group on leadership. So that's the first strategy. The second one is that we want to train people like the asesores. Those are the advisors involved in the learning communities. We will train internal coordinators and train principals. And then the third strategy is really dissemination and knowledge exchange. The idea is with the project, we have 5 years to not only conduct research and keep it in the universities, but really exchange with the field. We want to have an impact on those Ecuadorian schools. We do it not for ourselves, we do it for the students, for the pupils in those Ecuadorian schools. So that's the ambition of the project.
So this project, now that you're here, it's concretely funded by ARES, which is the French-speaking organization in Belgium in charge of higher education research, right? So they are financed, and you connected now with Universidad Andina, concretely with me and the team of the Department of Education. And the project is officially beginning. So this is your first visit directly related to this project. So your expectations for the project, maybe you can share with us what you expect from this project. And also very importantly, what do you think you will learn or you're learning already in these few days visiting and contacting Andina in these days?
I think that, and that's important to mention, that it's really like a joint project. So both sides will learn a lot. So me as a researcher interested in teacher professional development will learn a lot by collaborating with you. So what are the expectations for the project? I think that I hope that we will become like, and especially also the Universidad of Andina, like the top university on the topic of educational leadership. I think it's important that on that specific topic that we build like a research group, an expertise on that topic, that people, master students, PhD students in the future who are interested in working on a topic could join that big research group. So that's the ambition for what I hope for the research group. As I explained, like for me, it's not only a research project. I really hope that through this project, that after 5 years, that school leaders, assessores, and teachers feel better prepared, feel that they have the competencies and feel supported through the project. That's really what I hope for the field. And then there was another question, but
your final thought on what do you think about Universidad Andina in these few days that you've been here?
Yeah, I'm impressed. Really, as I explained this morning, it's a warm university. I'm very proud that I'm able to collaborate with this university. I feel that there's a lot of expertise already present, and that's why I really believe that together we can have an impact, that we can change something. So yeah, I can only say that I'm more than proud to be able to walk around here, to be able to be part of this project and collaborate together on this very important topic.
Thank you very much, Virginie.
With pleasure.